care.
I'll eat my Oreos.
Dude, you know 100% that like this is great, but Monday morning, it's an ordeal.
It's usually Tuesday morning that gets me.
There's the delay aspect to it. But the problem is I usually start on Friday, so I get hit with Monday and Tuesday. You know?
Sunday's usually like the preamble to all of it.
Sunday's actually nothing. It's like the calm before the storm.
You know it's coming.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Stokastic.com NBA strategy show presented by Prize Picks. I'm Dave Loughran at Laffy_D on the Twitters, joined by Josh Engleman at Josh Engleman on the Twitter. He started his day off listening to some Creed.
They took me higher, man.
They did take you higher. Yeah. Couldn't have been any lower.
No.
And we've got a fun slate ahead of us today. Celtics, Sixers, Golden State Warriors, Phoenix Suns, and Denver Nuggets. Ben had said this. I think you had said this as well, that you could easily see this game. Ben's, I'll put it on Ben because I'm not sure. I'm not particularly sure where you were at on this, but
if it's a good take, I probably said it.
He's saying he could just see this going to 7 where the home team winning every game, which
I didn't say that.
No, I thought you said that you could see Phoenix winning games 3 and 4. Maybe that was Adam. I can't remember.
Wasn't me.
No, that was Ben. No Chris Paul though. No Chris Paul. Joel Embiid's going to play. He went through a full practice yesterday. He's going to play. What did you make of that game? Because he wasn't great, but he did have 5 blocks defensively. He seemed pretty agile. I know you and Jacob yesterday were like, his body language didn't look great, but for me, honestly, watching Joel Embiid play, it never doesn't look awkward. It never doesn't look uncomfortable. That just, to me, when I watch him, is always the style of play that I've taken from him. So I didn't get that much out of watching his body language.
I mean, he looked a little lumbery. Like, that's a big ass brace that he's wearing. No denying that. Like, it's chunky underneath that giant ass sleeve. But I don't know. It certainly doesn't look good. Like, you can't be optimistic about Philly right now if he's got to play with that brace. I agree with that after game 2.
Let me pose a question to you that, like, off the top of your head, obvious, just snap response, you're going to be like, no, you're insane. And I get that. Okay. Right? It's related to this.
Okay, let's do it.
If Embiid's not at 100% to really be as impactful as he is, would the Sixers not just be better going like 5 out and just trying to win by raining down long field goal, like raining down threes?
Yeah, I just don't think they have like the correct set of bodies to do it. Are they a better, like Boston's already a better version of that?
That's the problem. That's the problem. Exactly. I mean, if Harden and Maxey are on, you can compete in that arena. You absolutely can. If both of those guys are on, you can compete in that arena. If Melton's playing well, you at least have Melton. There's that. I mean, you're not going to go 5 out because they like having Paul Reed there. He did, by the way, get all of those backup center minutes.
He did.
So I think we should have an idea of what it looks like there. I don't know. It's tough to say going into game 3. But yeah, I'm just thinking about this. Like, if Joel Embiid's not healthy and Boston's just shitting on them, raining, and look, Boston shot extraordinarily well from 3 last game, but they are, the highest frequency 3-point shooting team in the league alongside the Golden State Warriors. So it's not a huge surprise. It's a tough spot for Philly. And I've said this to you before. I know you've had some pushback on it. Huge surprise, right, crowd? But I just don't think you win as much as I love Joel Embiid, I don't think you win a finals with a team that is constructed like that, because there are teams you can run into that are absolute buzzsaws from beyond the arc. And when you run into that, you need everything to go right on both sides of the floor.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's going to be tough sledding for Philly moving forward. It's going to take James Harden being Houston James Harden and like the good version of the Houston James Harden to get Philly to where they need to be. I think
exactly.
I think if this series ends with Philly winning, I think that we're going to look. I think the narrative is not going to be about Philly winning. It's going to be about Boston losing this series.
I would 100% agree with that. They need They need Harden to be what Jamal Murray is doing for Denver right now. In the sense that, like, if Jamal Murray's not there, I don't care how good Nikola Jokic is. Like, if Jamal Murray's not there, if Jamal Murray's like half of what he is, there's no chance that I'm betting on Denver to win the finals. Just absolutely zero chance that I would do that.
Agreed. Dude, the rest of this playoffs is just, I don't know who's going to win it any longer. I don't trust any of these teams. Like, obviously, Boston's got what seems to be the easiest path to win the title. Yeah. I don't trust anybody any longer.
Boston certainly has the easiest path to get to the title, to get to the finals. No question there.
Yeah, no, I mean, having the Heat and the Knicks on the opposite side is as close to a free square as you're going to get.
Like, knowing that that's what's waiting for you.
Yeah. However, I don't think Phoenix is going to get there. So it's just like, obviously Denver is in for a world of hurt against the Lakers or the Warriors. Like, that's a real series that you got to put in some high level work.
You think they can beat them? You think they can beat them? Either of those?
I think all bets are off for the West. I believe anybody but Phoenix at this point.
Yeah. You think Phoenix is done?
Yeah.
How many games? How many games does this go?
5.
I'm saying
5.
6.
I think it's so. You have to be a believer in Phoenix tonight, then, right? Because if Denver wins today, this shit is over probably in 4.
I think Phoenix wins this game. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see Phoenix win games 3 and 4, and then lose games 5 and 6.
Maybe.
I don't anticipate Denver losing every road game they play this year. But right. They are not a good road team at all. They really aren't. Night and day, home and on the road. I would put it this way. I would be shocked if Phoenix doesn't steal at least the game in at home. And that last game, game 2, they were up by 2 going into the 4th, and it was a complete implosion. They scored 14 points in the 4th quarter. That's as bad as you can get. You know, Western Conference semifinals, you hold a 2-point lead. It was 1 or 2 points, but you get the point. Yeah. Call it an even game. Call it a 0-0 game for all I care. Going into the 4th quarter, they score 14 points in that quarter. I mean, an epic collapse there. They just couldn't get anything going. I still think they have enough firepower between Durant and Booker to get there. The problem is they're going to have to play these guys 45 minutes.
Yeah, they are. I went 42 on both of them. We're obviously going to get there. Worth having a conversation if that number should be more, but we will get there. That's for sure.
The Suns just have no bench. It's going to kill them. They have nothing to speak of off the bench.
No, I mean, they don't have a starting 5, let alone a bench.
I know. Just Cameron Payne's. I mean, Cameron Payne. Do you throw Booker at the point now?
I don't think they want to. I don't. They got a lot of options today. No good ones though. This game starting at 10 o'clock is a pain in the ass for everybody playing DFS tonight because we don't know what that starting lineup is going to look like or the rotation.
But they have a lot of options. They just don't have any good options is the problem.
Yes, they've got a lot of different pieces that are all shitty.
Okay, so we know that Durant, Ayton, and Booker are starting. We can assume that Josh Okogie is going to start again.
Maybe.
All right, fine. It's fine. We'll say Okogie or Craig. We'll say Josh Okogie or Torrey Craig.
Probably.
They will.
I would not be surprised if they go like Payne Lee. I wouldn't. I really wouldn't.
I would.
Do I think that that's likely? Absolutely not. I wouldn't be surprised if TJ Warren starts today. They might start Terrence Ross alongside of Devin Booker. There's a lot of weird shit that's set up here.
So what you're saying though here is that in order for something like that to happen, it's Monty Williams hitting the panic button because TJ Warren has not been in the playoff rotation since the beginning of the playoffs.
Said it yesterday in a press conference that Ross and Warren are playing today.
Okay. But I'm saying to start.
Oh yeah, like I don't know how you trust the dude that they haven't wanted to play.
Man. All right.
Yeah. These two guys could see significantly more time of TJ Warren and Terrence Ross. Well, significantly more time than 0 is pretty easy to do.
Yeah. My guess would be, if I had to guess, Payne starts and Landry Shamet's back in the rotation.
I would not be surprised if Landry Shamet doesn't play at all again.
Who backs up it? What do you just throw Booker? You just stagger Booker and Payne? You throw Booker.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about 4 minutes, man. If you think Devin Booker's playing 44 minutes, then there's not exactly a huge, you don't really need a backup point guard.
What I meant is when Payne's off the floor, you just move Booker to the 1, you throw in one of these swingmen that they have. One of these.
Yeah, I mean, you can't take Payne and Booker off the floor at that point in time.
You can't. So yeah, Shamet probably doesn't play, and you just slide Booker over. That would make the
like he could. They basically have like 5 guys that could all play like 12 minutes today.
Right.
So good luck.
Yeah, Shamet stinks, man. So that doesn't make things easy. Anyway, happy to have you guys with us. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so yet. Just take a single second here. Tap that thumbs up if you've got working fingers. If not, I'm sure there's still some way that you could do so. Even if you're, like a double amputee or something, you probably still have, because you're watching this right now, right? Those are the most impressive people I've ever. I saw this woman, double amputee. No, like she was up to the nub, like the shoulder nub, and not sure how it's legal. Maybe it isn't, but she competently, I don't know if you saw this video, it went viral like a year ago, drives with her feet.
How else do you touch the pedals?
Well, and the crazy thing is she's driving stick.
I figured she'd use her mouth on the wheel.
You hear me? She drives stick.
I don't think that's true.
Oh, by the way, it's a big rig.
Mm-hmm. At this point now, I don't know where the truth lies and where the lies started.
Yeah, she's also a certified pilot, a licensed pilot. No, this is true. You can look it up. It was the craziest thing. Like she's making 3-point turns, Josh, with her foot. Like, you know how you would do a turn like that?
Yeah, right? She's doing it with her leg.
She's got the leg up there doing it. Yeah.
Flexible. I like it.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how she's changing gears, like putting it in the park, or there must be something where, yeah, how do you do? Maybe it's just, I think it was just one leg up and then the other leg on the pedals.
How do you think she wipes?
Oh, a bidet. Gotta be.
Yeah, but like,
you just press the button.
Sometimes you need a little bit more, Those Monday mornings.
If it's a tough yeah, if you've had a tough weekend.
Yeah. I figure it's sort of like do you golf?
I always
have you golfed?
I never got into it and I wish I did.
Okay. So like at each tee box, there's usually like a brush on the ground.
I've golfed before.
Yeah,
I just
you could like
golf. Yeah.
rub your feet on it to get the shit off the bottom of your shoe. I assume she's got one of those next to the toilet with like a towel on it.
Okay.
You just rub it all off.
Right. So essentially you're equating her to when a dog's got a hanger on and he starts scooting on the floor.
Yeah, that probably works too.
Woo. All right. Good morning, everybody. Let's talk some basketball. Like I said, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening in podcast form, show us some love there. Subscribe, leave a rating or review. All that stuff goes a long way. Leave a comment in the description as well if you haven't done so yet. If you're watching after the fact, I should say. We appreciate you guys, all the support throughout the season. We got some fun stuff coming up for the postseason as well. Josh and I probably going to be doing the playback streams. We had a ton of fun with that last year.
Yeah.
So if you look at playback's awesome too. And it's free as long as you have a way to watch the games. We sync it all up and we watch it together with zero delay on our commentary, on zero delay with the feed. We did that throughout the whole finals last year. It was awesome. So
sure did.
Greg said, but is she capable of hitting the like button? That's my point, Greg. There's no doubt in my mind that if she can competently drive a car, right, that she could hit that like button, which leaves zero excuse for anybody else, any able-bodied person out there.
I mean, I don't think the lack of arms is the reason you can't hit a like button.
What do you mean?
So she's just sitting on the computer, like foot up here, fucking keyboard over here. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I could hit the like button right now with my foot.
I couldn't.
You don't think you could do it?
No, touch screen maybe. On my phone, there's no way I could control the mouse and get to YouTube and click the like button without clicking like 15 other things first.
Oh man, this won't even move the mouse. Maybe the calluses. It won't even move the mouse. It should, right? Foot, hand.
Yeah, well, this stupid Apple mouse doesn't have like real buttons and shit. So that's
I was just trying it on the laptop.
Okay.
You would think that a foot would work as well as a hand, right?
It should, right?
That's what I'm saying. You would actually. Well, no luck.
It's a shame, man. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Figure it out.
I'm sure she's resourceful.
Johnson, would you rather have no arms or no legs? For sure, I'd rather have. I think no legs.
No legs, without question.
Right? For sure.
Yeah. No doubt.
Plus,
I can play video games and shit. I could do all the other shit.
Exactly. Plus, I could just ask.
I'll get those. I was just gonna say the same thing. I know. I can get rid of my wife.
Yeah. Norm Macdonald had the bid on it where he's like, I don't think he should have been allowed to race. They're like, why? He's like, he's got rocket ships. He's like, I think one requirement for racing is that you should be a biped. He was the man. But yeah, no legs for sure. For sure.
Yeah, it's definitely no legs. Especially now. Like, I would imagine it's easier now.
JK said, or would you have only one of each, but on the same side?
No, one of each that's an annoyance.
Did you watch the show Goliath? I think it was Goliath, right? With Billy Bob Thornton?
No. I've legitimately never even heard of it.
Maybe I thought it was called Goliath. It's actually, the first season was amazing, man. Amazing first season. You guys should watch that. Even if you only watch the first season, you'd love it. I promise you that. I never lead you wrong on those.
All you do is lead us wrong.
Never would.
I'm not saying you do it intentionally, but it's every day.
It's never day.
Coming from the guy tweeting out modest mouse pictures in the morning. Clown.
Responding to you tweeting out Creed pictures.
That's telling you, inspirational music.
Yeah, the fake Christian.
I don't think it's fake.
No, it was. That's what happened. He got blasted for it because he was like espousing Christian values and that they were a Christian band. And it turned out that he was just out there banging hookers every day.
Exactly. That's how it works.
That last part I completely made up. But something happened where he was banging legless hookers. No, there was something out there where he was. I went to a Christian school through 8th grade, and I remember this. Like, I remember it happened. Someone was talking. Someone's like, "Well, they're not. They're not what you think they are. Wolves in sheep clothing." I don't remember any of that. Apostate. All right.
I'm not surprised that he would have those values and do the opposite.
No, not at all.
He would not be the first.
He runs a mega church now.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. He's probably even worse now.
I saw this one inner city pastor. I mean, what a scumbag. Many of them are, but it was like this small inner city church. Maybe it was, getting bigger because this guy, you have to be very likable. You have to be energetic, right? Like, you have to be that type of person that has charisma and all of that.
Yeah.
And all these people are giving all of their money to him because he's saying the church needs it. Meanwhile, he's pulling up, and these people, many of them impoverished. They talked about it. There's a documentary on it. This dude, Josh, rolling up to church in Bentleys and coming home to like one of his 6 houses every day, just taking these people for everything they're worth.
Like righteous gemstones, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Boston, Philadelphia, the Celtics on the road. Series tied 1-1. The spread in this game, Celtics -2.5. Who knows what Joel Embiid's status is? Right? No, I know what his status is. He's questionable. We expect him to play, but who knows how good he's going to be out there.
Right.
But with Boston on the road today, you have to throw that last game for Jason Tatum out the window. He was in early foul trouble. He had 2 fouls and then 3 fouls. And then he didn't play 18 minutes to close out the game. They were up by miserable. 30 plus points. Like, there's nothing I'm taking away from Jason Tatum in that game. Still think, he is the number one option on this team. We've seen that all year long. How do you want to approach guys like him and Jaylen Brown today? Let's go top down here.
So obviously, like them both, that should be no surprise. You're going to get to these guys a lot. 9,700 for Tatum, 8,300 for Jaylen Brown, shooting guard, small forward. I think it's probably a little easier to get to Jaylen Brown. You're saving that 14. Like, obviously, Tatum is a better per minute guy, but you're saving 1,400, and you've got the better MPE. Crossing guard and forward is massive on a 2-game slate, so you really increase your flexibility. We are seeing Tatum pull a little bit more ownership than Brown, and I did have Tatum come out of my sim slightly more frequently than Brown, so it's really hard to separate those two guys as far as I'm concerned. They look about the same, and they both have their pluses and minuses. Jason Tatum has the higher overall ceiling. The raw point ceiling could really be massive for Tatum. It can be for Brown, but it's going to be like a half step behind. If you're asking me to pick between the two, I probably lean Brown slightly just because I feel like he's easier to get to. There's no wrong answer for these guys at this point, especially after especially for Tatum coming out of that last game. The real appeal here is that Tatum is $100 cheaper than Kevin Durant. He's $500 cheaper than Embiid and $1,200 cheaper than Nikola Jokic. It just feels a lot easier to get to Tatum. The problem is, I think I like Booker more than Tatum, which then makes it easier to get to Jaylen Brown.
All right. What about Al Horford? I mean, Al Horford was not really shy about getting up shots last game. 1 for 8 from 3-point range. But I mean, he has seen slightly more volume in this series than he did before. I mean, going up into last game, he had a 9% usage rate in the postseason. 9%.
It's not high.
Great.
No.
But I guess I'm just looking at this thinking, all right, well, if Joel Embiid, let's say assume this game stays close, if Joel Embiid's going to play, does Al Horford see, I mean, he should see another 30, 33 minutes, somewhere in that range, you would think. I mean, I'm not really sure if there's anything additional. If you remember last postseason, he was playing like 37, 38 minutes in some of those games. I don't think we're there yet on Al Horford.
No, neither do I. I gave him 32. I feel pretty good there. We did get massive minutes out of Grant Williams. He ended up playing 29. So they have worked back in a third guy that can play at the 4 and the 5. So they can mix and match here a little bit to make things work. But Horford at 5,300, only 19% owned. This is a guy that I like a little bit more than the public. I did just run a crunch. I have my 150 right now. I actually ended up a little bit under on Brown and a little heavier on Tatum, which is not what I expected. But I am a bit over the field on Al Horford. I think he rights the ship a bit, and I don't have him projected well at all. 0.77 fantasy points per minute for this game. That is a pessimistic outlook for Al Horford, but power forward center eligibility 5,300. If he's getting 30 minutes, I think he's probably a little under owned at 18%.
Oh, Creed actually broke up because what's their lead singer? Scott Stapp was a massive drug and alcohol user.
Seems like a great guy.
Yeah. It's kind of par for the course, right?
Yeah, I'm not in any position to be throwing stones. I'm living in a very glass house.
I'm saying as far as music goes.
Yeah.
Robert Williams got 22 minutes. It's tough to I was surprised some of these guys stayed out there as long as they did. Like Derek White was out there relatively late, came back for a couple of minutes, just they slammed that door. Then they full out emptied the bench.
Yeah.
Full out emptied it. You're talking about everybody that's not going to see minutes got a little bit of additional run here in game 2 of the postseason or of the semifinals. But if you were to just project minutes out today, does anything change from what it's been early in the postseason throughout the first games? That would probably be the best way to look at this.
I don't think so. you keep waiting for Robert Williams to play a shit ton more minutes. And we did see him in those final two games for Philly play 29 and 27 minutes in the previous series. But now and then following it up with 16, but now we're seeing him, right around that 20, 21 mark. I went 23 to Time Lord. I'm going to continue to get to him. We're going to see a day, one of these days, where he just plays like 27 minutes and you have to have him. I'm happy to get there again today at 4,600 center only. I don't have much else to say. Like, if you're a believer, we kind of know that he's going to play 20 minutes and that he can pay off that salary in 20 minutes if it breaks well. But there's certainly upside for Robert Williams minutes. It's not like if things are going well, he's the guy they're trying to get off the floor. Shit, they had him on the floor way later than you would have expected in that most recent game, in the ass beating. Robert Williams was on the floor with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter when they were up by 30. Like, why is he out there at all? Like, why is Robert Williams even playing the fourth quarter in that game, the most recent game? That's what starts to confuse me. Like, if they're willing to play him in an absolute blowout, why isn't he playing more when it matters?
It's a great question. It's clearly not that they're worried about his health or keeping him healthy, if that's the case.
If they are, then they're not. They're doing a real shit job showing it.
Yeah, yes, they are. Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, Grant Williams played a lot of minutes in that game, as we saw.
Yeah.
But a lot of that was a decent amount of that was because Jason Tatum, right? Jason Tatum only played 19 minutes. So assume he comes back down to earth there. If you were to prioritize Boston today, how would you go about that?
Derek White is the number one guy for you to get to on DraftKings today. He is the most owned at 52%, and that is fully warranted. He was the number one guy in my Sims, and I just don't think you can dodge it. He's 4,900 today, and he has the MPE, whereas Smart and Brogdon are both point guard only. So White is now the starter, the cheapest guy, and has the extra position. It just fits too well. He's the first guy you got to put into a cash game if you're coming from the Boston end. Can Marcus Smart and Malcolm Brogdon outscore Derek White? Yeah, like that's going to happen pretty regularly. But the cost efficiency and the positionality, it makes it too difficult to want to get away from Derek White.
Anybody else for Boston you want to get to?
I'm going to be light on Malcolm Brogdon again. He shot the shit out of the ball for the first two games. Like, he still only played 24 minutes the last time out. He's been the guy. I was light on him last time. I was light on him in game one. Both of those things were okay to me. I went back and looked at 150 maxers versus non-maxers exposure on Brogdon. I didn't miss out on anything there. So I'm going to continue to be a little bit lighter on Brogdon, particularly at 5,400. But if he keeps making every shot that he takes, then, it's not going to slow him down from paying off 5,400. I do think it's pretty difficult to get to Grant Williams today. One, getting back up to 29 minutes seems like an impossibility. And two, because obviously, Tatum and shit are going to play a little bit more. But the second big one here is that he's a terrible per minute dude. I didn't get to him at all. The guys that I have the most right now are Derek White and Marcus Smart. I didn't expect to have as much Marcus Smart, but for right now at 5,200, it seems to work.
On the Philly side, ooh, okay. By the way, guys, as you know, if you're looking for a free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum, there's two ways to do it. There's three ways. The most difficult way, but probably the most rewarding, is to just make sure you've got the avatar. Make sure you're rocking the avatar, okay? Yeah. If you're rocking the avatar, you finish top 3 in a field of 5,000 or more. You tweet your wins at Stokastic Hall of Fame. We had our buddy yesterday, 35 cents turned into $620 plus the free month just because he's rocking the avatar. Doesn't matter. 10-cent contest, 5 cent, 25, $20. Doesn't matter what it is. As long as you follow that simple stuff, you're getting it up there. There you go. Thank you, Jordan. Yeah. Mr. 586, who says 35 cents doesn't matter? That's insane. That ROI is out. First out of 133,000.
Yeah.
Now he's got a free month. So the Stokastic avatar, highly suggest you rock that across wherever you play. Or you've got Prize Picks. Link in the description for that. I'm literally giving you guys multiple ways to get a free month, entirely free, $120 value for every tool that we have on the site for every single sport. Same ones that Steve Buzzard is using. I know he's annoying all of us with just winning constantly, but it isn't to say that you aren't getting access to the same tools. You know what I mean? And you can see that in the Hall of Fame. You could good prize picks, jump in there, get a first match deposit bonus up to $100, 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Make sure to watch Josh's videos on that as well. Make sure to get our Bet Pro tool and check that out. There's that. Prize picks in the description and in the comment or in the chat. Awesome format. Makes betting way easier if you're in non-legal betting states specifically. They're blowing up right now. And if you're playing one entry in the 6-pick flex play every single day, every day of the NBA playoffs, they're giving someone a shot to win $1 million. So that's just a little icing on the cake. Could be you. They're randomly drawing people, giving them a shot to win $100 or $1 million every single day. Prize picks link in the description, $120 value, free month of Stokastic plus platinum, and a first match deposit bonus up to $100. Non-legal betting states specifically, huge for you on all fronts. Or Josh, if you're in legal betting states and you want to catch that beautiful, sweet crossover where you say, all right, I'm not in prize pick state, but I'm in this state. BetMGM. You sign up there, you deposit $10 and make a $10 bet, and you're getting one free month of Stokastic plus platinum, plus first bet insurance up to $1,000 on your first bet, which means if you lose, you get reimbursed in free bets up to $1,000. Is there any better way to get access to all of the tools for a month, make an investment out of it, build your bankroll up, and then stick around and become part of the family?
It's as good as it gets. Whichever method you want to do it, you're getting hooked up big time with bonus cash and getting in the door behind the paywall for Stokastic. I wanted to add one thing for prize picks. Today is Flex Friday. So $20, up to $20 on your first play. So you put in that six play card, whatever we want to call it right now. If you make, if that's for 20, if you do it for $20 and it loses, they'll make you whole again for that $20. So you basically have a risk-free opportunity for today. $20 on your first flex entry.
They're always doing that stuff. Taco Tuesday, the Friday stuff, the free squares. Yeah. If you're not there, prize picks, link in the description, chat. If you don't have access to that, you want the free month, even if you don't love sports betting, $10 in the BetMGM using that link in the description or in chat, whichever one you want to do. $120 value, free month. Join the Discord too. That comes along with it. We do this because we think these tools are going to help you win or become a winning player or sustain the wins and build that bankroll up. And the last thing I'll say about this, if you guys are playing like lower stakes, smaller stakes, having access to these tools in smaller stakes is massive, just absolutely massive to have these type of tools in smaller stakes where the sharks, most of the sharks aren't allowed. You're not allowed to, they're not even allowed to play in those contests.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a huge advantage to have tools that most people in those aren't paying for, and you're getting them for free.
Couldn't agree more.
All right. Philly. Let's get into Philly.
Let's do it.
So Melton and Tucker right now are the highest projected owned players. Both of them cheap, understandable. I get it. But man, and Harden 8,700. I'm very tempted to just go back to the well with James Harden today because he shot poorly last game. But with Joel Embiid clearly not being at 100%, I don't like the way. Here's the way I look at this. If they're going to win, you're very simply going to need another pretty heroic effort from James Harden as a scorer. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it means if you're going to win, I think they all know what is needed from James Harden today.
I think his ownership is preposterous. I have twice as much James Harden. He came out of my sim at 40%. He's going to play 40 minutes. He's 8,700. So 1.2 fantasy point per minute guy heading back home. I don't understand the ownership here. He's one of my biggest stands over the field. I absolutely love getting to James Harden today. That price tag is just too low. It doesn't make any sense to me. Similarly, 23% or 24% ownership for Tobias Harris, 6,200. MPE at small forward, power forward. This is another guy that I think is just pretty criminally under-owned for today's slate. If you're just looking at that $6,200 price tag, guys around him, like Maxi's getting more ownership. That's a little weird to me. Aaron Gordon is basically getting the same ownership. I like Gordon more than Harris, but I like both guys a ton. I mean, even like someone like MPJ is still getting 17% ownership, and his minutes are tenuous now, at least moving forward. I want to get to Harris. I want to get to Harden. I still want to get to Maxey at 28% owned. I'm at least with the field on those three guys or upwards of double for Harris and Harden. unfortunately for me, it looks like I'm going to be getting to a lot of Philly. One piece of Philly that I'm not going to be getting to, though, today, unfortunately, Joel Embiid.
I'm not sure how you can right now. I'm simply not sure how you can right now. Maybe he's like, okay, we know he's not better, right? Like we know in 2 days he's not better. Let me play devil's advocate here just to get your thoughts so we can actually, so we can kind of iron this out, right?
Yeah.
Number one, you do have Jokic on this slate.
You do.
You do have Kevin Durant on this slate. Who has he been great throughout the postseason from a fantasy perspective? No, but I don't think that's even fair to say, because that first game against Denver, he was clearly going north of 60 fantasy points, no problem. But he lost a lot of minutes in that blowout.
We'll get to Durant. We got a lot to talk about there.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like Kevin Durant was having a very nice game.
We know what Kevin Durant can do.
Exactly. Yeah, having a huge game. The thing with Embiid, I look at it and I go, okay, he had 5 blocks in the first half. Like that's 10 right there. Only played 27 minutes, 4 for 9 from the field, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. Can Joel Embiid have a big game here? The answer is a resounding yes. The issue that I keep running into is there are so many other players where we know they're healthy, number one. We know they're going to play more minutes probably than Joel Embiid. Right? Yeah. If not the exact same, but my assumption, more minutes, some of them a lot more. And a couple of them are cheaper. Jokic is more expensive, but he's just an absolute animal and he's completely healthy.
Right. Like right out of the gate, if you look at it, without paying attention to anything else, Joel Embiid has to beat Nikola Jokic.
Yep. Yeah.
Like because you're center, because both of these guys are center only, Joel Embiid has to beat Nikola Jokic. If he doesn't beat Nikola Jokic, oh boy, there's an interesting text message. I'm going to read this text message that I just got from my wife right now. I apologize for cutting myself off in the middle of Embiid and Jokic, but I have to. My wife is in New York right now, visiting her sister-in-law. And this is the text that I just received. Apologies in advance. Pardon my French for some of this. You ready?
I can't wait.
I just saw a hooker showing her tits to a man.
Oh. Nice. Legless? Ask her at the hooker had legs. Just ask.
I went with pics or it didn't happen. Wasn't ready for that one. Interesting morning here.
Where is she?
She's in Brooklyn right now.
Okay. So, I mean, pretty relatively common occurrence?
Let's see. I would guess if you're getting out of the gates at 10:30 like that on a Friday. Anyway.
Could be Travis at what time is it? That's early for titties. Never too early, man. Never too early. Brandon Katz said, Brandon, this is one of the most egregious things. Embiid was just tested. This has to be a parody account. I'm convinced that it's like, that it's OpenAI, it's like chatbot or something, and they're seeing the effect it has on the psychology of those who read it. Okay?
No. It's very obviously not.
He said Embiid was just testing his knee out in game 2. He'll be a different player in game 3. That's a dumb take by Dave. He was just testing it out in the semifinals of the post. Just give it a little test run.
I mean, he's dumb, man. He dumb.
Oh.
It's exhausting, isn't
it? What does that mean, testing his knee out?
Nothing. It means nothing. It's just word vomit.
Oh my God. Could be Travis. What's up? I do like Travis. Sometimes his takes can annoy me too, but I like Travis. That's a bad take, Laffy, saying you can't get to Embiid when he made the optimal last time with a horrible game. Wasn't that a showdown slate?
What did I miss?
That was a showdown slate.
Yeah. He made the optimal and showdown because everyone
was good. Sucked.
Yeah.
Tatum played
27
minutes.
fantasy points or something.
Tatum played 19 minutes.
What did Embiid finish with?
Like 27 or something?
Yeah, 27 and change. That was the quirk of all quirks.
That was because the whole everyone sucked in that game. Like Brogdon, I guarantee was in the optimal. I don't know what the optimal was, but I tell you,
he was the captain. Brogdon was the captain. Yeah.
Jaylen Brown Jaylen Brown and Brogdon.
Yeah.
Like, I guess Embiid, because the 27 was probably actually valuable.
It was like the 5th highest score.
That's what I mean.
And he beat Tatum.
I'd have to go back and look who the other ones were, but yeah.
Tobias Harris, maybe.
That's what, yeah.
Harden had 30. Like, Jaylen Brown had 39.8. Brogdon had 38.5. Harden had 30.5. No one else crossed 30. Like, that doesn't count for anything.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a terrible take about Embiid testing his knee. That's not what you do here.
Yeah, but he made the optimal on a game when he was testing his knee. Imagine what it'll be like now after he tested it. Plus, did Brandon get word yet if the test was successful?
Right.
What an absurd statement.
Yeah, they got beat by 35. I think he failed.
Right, he failed the test. He'll be different. I don't even care if he is different this game. You test your knee in warm-ups and practice. You don't test your knee. You don't test your knee in a game environment. Oh, God. Yeah, I just tested it out across 27 minutes.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible.
What else do you want to do with Philly? If nothing else, we can talk about Denver and Phoenix here.
I feel like I should be getting to a little bit more Jalen McDaniels just because he's flat 3K, but it's not happening. Tucker's getting 30% ownership. That scares the living shit out of me. I'm still getting to some of it, but I'm a little bit lighter. The guy that I want to talk about here is DeAnthony Melton, 4,100, shooting guard, small forward. So you've got that MPE. He's 34% owned. He's the high mark on Philly. I essentially agree with it. Like, I prefer getting to Harden and Harris more at the top end, but the way that Melton is priced and his position fits really well. I really like the flexibility you get. The only question for Melton is just like, how do they want to utilize him? How will he be out there? Because he played 4 minutes and 45 seconds in the first quarter, picked up another 2 minutes there at the start of the second. So we're calling it 6 minutes, 45 seconds, closed out with another 5. So he played a little over 11 minutes in the first half of game 2. If you think that happens again, you're going like, 23, 24 out of Melton. Could potentially play more if the shot's falling. He obviously played pretty well in game 1. I went 24 minutes to Melton. I like the flexibility. I think the ownership is correct.
Okay. Did you watch the Sixers game?
I watched the first half.
There was Embiid definitely, like, Embiid he knows how to flop. There was that one on, was it?
That was terrible. Oh, when he just laughed at him
with Grant Williams.
Yeah.
Grant Williams came in for the butt thrust.
Yeah.
And it was very minor.
Just crumbled.
And you would have thought,
I thought his knee gave out at first.
You would have thought Embiid just got tagged by Barry Wood. But what I'm saying is, there was one that was a ridiculous foul on Embiid. And I saw a comment on Twitter. Curious to see what chat has to say about this, because I actually agree with it. And for anyone out there that wants to say I'm an Embiid apologist, you're 100% wrong. I'll put that out there right now. That foul that they called I'm really not at all.
90%? You can't say 100%. Every single Philadelphia person's got a little bit of homer in them at all times.
Oh, I mean, do I have some inherent bias? Of course. But I'm also always, you've never caught me at a time where I'm just like completely on the wrong side of something with him, where anyone outside of Philly sees it and Philly doesn't see it. That's what I'm saying. I can at least look through that lens. That foul they called on Embiid when he fell on Marcus Smart was egregious.
Insane.
Right?
Yeah.
And I saw someone tweet, they're like, I'm tired of everyone in the media talking about, how Marcus Smart with the hustle plays, giving up his body when it's just reckless a lot of times. Like, he dove into PJ Tucker's knee and they're like, how about that hustle move? PJ Tucker's knee bent backwards. And that, I'm not saying it's not a hustle move, but he's reckless. So when you dive for the ball and Embiid's already in the air, you can't call a foul on Embiid for landing in the only spot that he's allowed to land, that he could possibly land.
To be fair, Marcus Smart did win the Hustle Award.
There you go. But where else was Embiid supposed to land? He was already in flight.
I don't know.
You did see, which one I'm talking about. It was insane.
Yeah, I don't want to defend him. That's the thing. It's more fun for me to just treat you like a Philly homer.
But I'm objectively right on that, is what I'm saying.
would be the first time.
But even if it was, I'm right.
Yeah.
You want to talk about...
Hey, hold on. Who wins?
This game? Boston.
Sure.
Oh, well, I didn't know if you meant the series or the game.
I mean, if your answer is Boston for the game, but it's certainly Boston for the series.
Well, I think both.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think both.
Agreed.
If Philly happened to win this game, I do think things become interesting.
Agreed.
But probably still like a Boston and
7.
Okay. Would I be shocked if Boston wins in 5? I honestly would not be shocked.
I'm going to ask you a question right now. This is the final question for this before we keep it moving.
Real quick, James Harden needs to be the definitive X factor if they stay competitive in this series. Go ahead.
If Joel Embiid finds himself injured again next year, what do you do if you're Philadelphia?
I don't know.
What is the long-term outlook for Joel Embiid in Philadelphia?
I don't know. I have no idea at this point. The window of opportunity isn't that big on somebody like Embiid. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Antoine Murphy straight up taking the Sixers win the series at plus 210 right now. Interesting.
All right. Well, I mean,
stance to take.
Yeah, but 210s. It's not like he's taking him at 12-1. You know, it's plus
210. Philly is winning this series means he's taking it at even money.
Yeah. Is it 210 right now?
It is, yeah. Boston's minus 255.
SMP said, I mean, if Philly loses this year, they're at a crossroads. I'm going to tell you the truth, man. I think they've been at a crossroads and it just hasn't necessarily been accepted yet. I think they've been at a crossroads.
I mean, everything for Philly is this decision right now. Does James Harden go to Houston? Because if he leaves, they're cooked.
I don't know.
They can't replace him. If James Harden leaves Philadelphia in the offseason this year, they might as well trade Joel Embiid.
And just blow it up again.
You have to, because there's no path any longer. You can't replace a $30 million salary slot.
I think they're already at a crossroads. I think they already have met a fork in the road. And now they might be at a dead end, really. That might be a better way to describe it. It might be a dead end, Josh.
Do you call up?
Did you just get a to stand up?
Oh, I don't know. Did I?
Oh, I thought that's why you looked at your watch.
I might. I probably did. I wasn't really paying attention to it. I just shut it off. Do you call up the New Orleans Pelicans and say, hey, we'll trade you our injured guy for your injured guy?
No, Zion's had more of an injury history than Embiid already as far as significant amount of time missed goes.
Sure, but you can get a couple extra assets back, I think.
I don't know.
If you traded Embiid for Zion, you're getting picks back with Zion.
Yeah. I mean, you're trading the MVP.
Well, he didn't really deserve that either.
But he got it.
He did. I'm just saying, look, it's they're towing a line, and if Harden's just like, I'm going back to Houston, my strippers need me.
Do you know how
all of a sudden the process ends?
This is like Greg R said, maybe all along the process was just to get Embiid an MVP. I know you're being facetious there, but this is why I hate this whole thing about people caring, like Philly fans caring. If they lose in 5 or 6 games in the second round again, who gives a shit that Joel Embiid won the MVP?
No, especially when Nikola Jokic is playing for the NBA title, it's just like, we fucked up.
Yeah, right. I guarantee if you asked anyone in Denver or Nikola Jokic himself if he'd rather have another MVP or even his first MVP or a finals victory, it's not a question.
No, it's finals. Snap answer. Doesn't even think about it. Especially Jokic. He don't give a shit.
Exactly.
That dude wants to just ride horses in Serbia for 6 months.
Plus, realistically speaking, if you're evaluating a player, he's going to be in Denver, but I'm just thinking, like, what would you pay somebody more for, winning an MVP, or would you pay him more for winning a finals?
Well, yeah, well, when Jokic gets the finals MVP, I think he's going to be real happy with it.
I mean,
if they win the finals, he's getting the finals MVP. Or Jamal Murray just had the series of a lifetime.
Very possible that Jamal Murray could get it. There's no doubt.
He would have to be just dropping 35 plus every night.
I would say like 70-30, Jokic, Murray going into that. If they won.
Yeah. Those are the only two options.
Right. Yeah, it's not Aaron Gordon.
No. Doubtful, at least.
If it's Aaron Gordon, that means that they just won in 4 games. They swept.
Yeah. It's oh God. Go Denver.
Perfect segue into this one. By the way, hit that thumbs up, guys, if you haven't done so yet. Talking Denver here. Oh, and join our chalkboard. Almost at 2,000 members. As always, shout out to you guys for joining and helping us build that community over there. All of our picks are in there for free every single day. The community is awesome. The app is free. Everything will always be free. So like if you're not a paid member in our premium Discord, or even if you are, but you want to get into sports betting talk, the community's just been growing and it's awesome in there. It's a lot of fun and everybody kind of is with, it's just not a bunch of scumbags, and you see that's hard to come by in these betting channels. Chalkboard, though, you can sync all your sports books, track your bets straight from there, post those bets from the sync sports book in there. You can track all the box scores from in there, all the picks, everything free. If you don't like it, you can bounce. I think you will, but it's not going to cost you anything. Download the app. Takes a single second. The link is down there in the description, but ultimately we'd love to have you guys jump in on that and help us build that community into something great. All right. Let's talk about Nikola Jokic. How about that? 53% boom score in the boom bust tool today. 49% ownership, 44% optimal. This is clearly one of the reasons that Joel Embiid isn't getting a lot of ownership today.
It is, and I like him, but I think he's a little over-owned here. I had him come out of my sims a little bit, quite a bit lower than that current ownership. It's a big price tag, obviously. Like that much we know. There are options that you can pay down for in the 3Ks, but they're sort of random. So you're guessing there. I think DeAndre Ayton is a really interesting center option today, who's also pulling 40-something% ownership, which we can get to. But I think it's just so much easier to roster Durant and Tatum and Booker and Harden and Jaylen Brown that I don't love the idea of getting all the way up to Jokic in the same way. That said, he is very clearly the highest projected player on today's slate. He is the most likely player to be the highest scorer on today's slate. I don't love the flexibility as much. Am I getting to him? Yeah, he showed up in my optimal lineup 29% of the time, but that's significantly less than 48% expected ownership. I gave him 38 minutes. If we want to have a conversation saying that should be like 39 or 40, I'm willing to do that, but it doesn't feel like today's the day where you project Jokic for 40 minutes up 2-0. So at 38, do I like him? Yeah. Am I okay with being a little bit lighter on him being in half of the lineups today? I'm willing to take my chances if it means that I'm getting to more of those 8 and 9K guys.
JK said Murray would need 40 points per game and 10 dimes, and he wouldn't need that much.
No.
Last time
if he averaged north of 30 for the series, like that's going to be a thing.
Oh, yeah. Last time they made a deep playoff run, Jamal Murray was the catalyst to them getting there. Murray was massive in that, in that, when they remember the bubble year when they went to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had multiple 50-point games. Brought them back from
the dude's made for this sort of like, he's an incredible shot creator and his two-man game is as good as anybody else's. Like when this shit gets down to crunch time, like nobody's got the plan to stop the two of those guys. That's as good of an offensive combination as you're ever going to find.
But like I said, 70-30, like you would still obviously think it's Jokic.
Yeah, just because like if they're going to win that series, it's not happening if Jokic has an average series.
Right. But I also don't, but here's what I'm saying. I don't think it happens if Murray has an average series either.
No, I agree. But like Jokic can have a series where he averages like 18, 14, and 9. And it's just like, oh my God, he did everything.
Exactly.
Whereas Murray comes out and averages 34 and like people just like points more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right. Or Murray could average 25 and even though he's great in every game, it still goes to Jokic because he just has all those counting stats.
Yeah. So that said, I don't know what to do with Jokic, but I will happily get to $7,900 Jamal Murray today.
Well, I was going to say the rest of this team though, like outside of Jokic and Murray, Really, you want to talk about just falling off a cliff from an ownership perspective, not just on this team, but in general throughout the rest of the slate. Sorry, not ownership perspective, but optimal score on a lot of these guys. So I was looking at boom percentage for a second there, but ownership on Denver is very heavy towards the top of Jokic, Bruce Brown, and Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
Murray.
And I think, and we're still missing the one that I like the most too, but we'll get there.
Aaron Gordon.
Yep.
Yeah. 6,000.
Yeah.
I'd said earlier last series that if Gordon wasn't in foul trouble, you could start seeing those massive minutes from him.
Yep.
39 minutes in back-to-back games to start off this series. He doesn't necessarily need to play that much, but $6,000, not a high shot volume guy. I get that. It's not often he's only going to have one rebound either, like he did last game. That's crazy. Aaron Gordon, 1 rebound in 39 minutes.
I know. Oh, well, I had an over on his PRA, so it was even more irritating.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, and he got the minutes you were hoping for, too.
Yeah, he did. Look, it's... As I look at him, 6K, power forward only, I gave him 37 minutes. I don't... Like, that seems realistic to me and potentially a little bit light. The fact that he's only 31% owned is kind of interesting to me. Because if you're looking at it here, you've got Tobias Harris slightly less owned. I see these guys pretty similarly. Like PJ Tucker is getting the exact same amount of ownership as Aaron Gordon. Clearly very different salary tiers. You're getting the same sort of ownership going to Durant and going to Tatum. I just think it's a little bit easier to functionally fit in Aaron Gordon at this spot, given that playing time. He's the guy that I'm getting to the most from Denver. I don't love it. Let me be clear here. Scares me. I don't think I have him over projected. 0.87 fantasy points per minute isn't something to write home about. This is just a playing time issue. But I still want to go to KCP at 4,500. Played massive minutes in the last game. I only gave him 35 here. I am getting to 40% Bruce Brown, who's got the guard forward MPE. He's sort of like the guy that just steps into everything when things aren't working. And then we get to Michael Porter Jr., who they buried in game 2. And maybe we get better defensive effort out of him. He's significantly better on defense than people think he was, but it wasn't great in game 2. Didn't matter for Denver. They're still up 2-0, but we saw his minutes get cut dramatically down to 23. I think they want him to be a part of a closing lineup. I gave him 29 minutes here. And, you know, he was playing 39, 40, 39 at the end of the previous series. You got to think that he's getting well north of 30 to like him. He's 20% owned right now. Maybe he snaps back out of it and has a rebound game here. Doesn't feel like that's what happens for him on the road in Phoenix. I'm trying to get away from Michael Porter Jr. today. That said, clearly a guy with an offensive ceiling that can shoot the lights out.
Yeah. I don't know why people say the bubble championship doesn't count. As if we can't look.
I mean, I know.
That. What?
I know why they say it.
Why?
Those people are unintelligent.
Way to endear yourself to the crowd.
It's true. You just sound dumb. Everybody had to do the same shit.
Right.
It wasn't more fair or less fair to anybody.
That's the thing. Everyone's on the same playing field.
Right. I think, to me personally, I think it's the most validated championship that exists because everybody was playing in the same arena. Nothing changed. No crowds. You're just going out there and balling. You have no excuses. No, we had to travel and do this and do that. You're just there. You're showing up. You're playing basketball. And if you can't get that shit done, then it's on you.
Also, I think there's also something to be said about that being a trying time for everyone in the sense that, like, remember, they couldn't see anybody, you know?
Right.
Who was it?
Yeah.
Lou Will sneaking Instagram girls up there. Was it Lou Williams? No.
Daniel House.
Was it Daniel House? There was more than one.
Daniel House basically got kicked off the Rockets for it.
Yeah, there were either way.
I think Rashawn, no, was it Rashawn Holmes? Somebody went and got wings and shit and left.
No, that was Lou Williams.
Brought food in.
That was Lou Williams.
No, Lou Will didn't show up first. He just went for wings, I think.
Was it?
He was just he just didn't get there in time and he went to the titty bar.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think he left and he didn't break protocol, go and get wings. I think he just stayed out and got wings and then
I think Rashawn Holmes got Uber Eats and met him outside of the he did something, or you're right, they went out to a bar or whatever. Either way, I think to be able to persevere through that and play at the top of your game in the bubble
Yeah.
When you're completely isolated, it's a crazy time. No one has any clue what's going on. I think that speaks volumes.
I agree. I give it more, honestly, if I were giving it anything, if I had to make, like, if I had to assign either more or less credit, I'm picking more for that scenario. I wish it was always like that. Like, crowds are fun and all, but it's the NBA. It's not the same as like a college crowd. I just want the best basketball possible. And if being in the bubble created the best basketball, I'm cool with that.
Anything else on Denver? You want to wrap this up, get to some KD talk here?
Yeah, let's do that, because I don't have much to say on like Jeff Green or Christian Brown, and Christian Brown, sorry. And Denver doesn't mess around with their rotation. Like, those are just the guys.
Yeah. Sir Dwayne Moody said, yeah, the bubble championship was the most difficult championship to win. It's difficult, or a different type of toughness, no family, no leaving, just you and your team. Yeah, that's got to be odd. They were there for a while too.
Yeah. They were there. Well, I mean, like Lakers were there for like 2 months or whatever.
Yeah, pretty long time that they were there for. Because March fair, like 11.
It sounded awesome. I would have loved it.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Just screwing around at Disney. They're always out there just playing cornhole and shit.
And fishing. They were out there.
You have nothing else to do.
They're out there fishing and everything too. Just like, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. The protocols were probably insanely annoying.
There's but like, it's not like you're working that around your day job or something like that. You don't have dick else to do than just like show up and get a test and then like go walk around the rest of the resort or something.
Also amazing that they were able to set that up and execute that. Really impressive.
I mean, it's like the number one thing that like really sports have ever done. Yeah.
Just unreal how, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Phoenix. Oh, last thing, guys, before we get to Phoenix, this is going to be a very important team to break down right now. Probably the most important on the slate, given Chris Paul's absence. So you want to stick around and not be at risk of missing out on what could have a massive impact on this slate. But in honor of Steve Buzzard just winning, I think, all of the money on DraftKings and FanDuel recently, we've got the May bundle going, which is if you choose a week or a month, you're getting 3 days for $5 to start it off. Fantastic deal. I looked at the numbers. We already had a ton of people sign up for this, Josh. You and I were actually in that same channel the other day when we were talking about it. A lot of people took advantage of this already. And also, shout out to Jake Hari, too. I forgot about that. Jake Hari with the 21K in NHL in 2 days. Steve Buzzard, 200K in 2 days, but then it's like over the last month, like $750,000. Both of these guys just strictly using the tools on the site. Steve has a big hand in the projections and the tools that are made. Yeah. I know Jake relies solely on the Stokastic NHL projections and top stacks tool and all that. So, the proof is in the pudding right there. If you want to check it out, use the link in the description or the one that Jordan threw in the chat. First 3 days, only $5. So what's that, like $166 a day or something? Getting access to every tool for every sport, not just NHL, not just baseball, every single sport on the site. So if you have any questions too, hit me up. My DMs are open. Happy to iron that out for you if you have any questions. But yeah, first 3 days free, whether you do weekly or monthly, check it out. The May bundle, link in the description and in chat. I want to start with Kevin Durant, then we'll get into the Chris Paul thing because we kind of teased that earlier in the show. With Kevin Durant, I'm not convinced that Kevin Durant's going to stay down all series. Like, I just simply am not. The minutes are absolutely massive here. 28% ownership. What do you want to do with Kevin Durant today?
I don't have 28%. I have quite a bit less than that.
Okay.
Figured that again, I gave him 42 minutes. You can talk me into 43. I have a very hard time going any higher than that. Like if it's a blowout on either way, you're cutting the minutes. In an optimal scenario, I think you're playing 44, 45 minutes worth of Kevin Durant. I just don't know how you can project that. That said, I don't know what we're expecting out of KD. He's not the same sort of per minute guy as like Jokic or Embiid. He's, equal to like the Tatums of the world. But since Kevin Durant came to Phoenix, every minute that he's played 569 minutes for the Phoenix Suns. That's how long he's been on the floor. He's got a 26.9% usage rate. He's not shooting as much as you would expect him to, and he hasn't been from the moment he got there all the way through the playoffs. If you just want to talk about the playoffs for Kevin Durant, he's played 300 minutes. He's got a 26 on the dot % usage rate. I don't know what we're looking for here out of Kevin Durant at this point. Like, we know that Chris Paul isn't playing today. Does that create more shots for Kevin Durant? It feels like the answer to me is no. Chris Paul's got an 18% usage rate. It's not like we're having to, like, you would expect Cam Payne to shoot more than Chris Paul. I don't know how to project Durant for more points here. To me, I prefer Devin Booker to Durant at the same ownership. Point guard, shooting guard eligible, $300 cheaper. To me, the better option is Booker over Durant. Maybe I'm crazy for that one. Maybe it's different if he's running the point, but you just feel like Kevin Durant is going to have this like massive scoring day and start shooting, and he just hasn't done that, and I don't know why. What does him taking over look like? Is that just him not missing? Where does the usage come from?
I don't know. I really don't know, but I think there's. I'm curious to see what it looks like with Chris Paul off the floor. Like, is it just strictly Devin Booker, Kevin Durant? That's why I think this is actually interesting, because like Chris Paul's not a high usage guy, but he also has the ball in his hands a lot.
He does.
Taking the ball out of his hands is only going to result in one thing. Like, I think you're talking two-man show here. By the way, William Mills said, whoever thinks this was tough for the NBA players are being very inconsiderate of soldiers that deploy overseas. That could not be a more insane take. Yeah. That's actually more insane than Brandon.
I ignored it.
At no point. That's like saying, you know,
they have nothing to do with each other.
No, that's like being, man, Laffy, when your dad died, that must have been tough, right? I'm like, yeah, it was. And someone goes, wow, that's really inconsiderate of the guy who just lost his whole family in a plane crash.
Right. It's just like they're not.
Like, what are you talking about? It's
not a competition to find out who has the worst life.
Clearly deploying overseas. I don't know why I brought it up. I just had to.
Oh, it annoyed the piss out of me too. I just ignored it.
A lot tougher than almost anything anyone will ever do in their lives. But if you're comparing basketball to basketball and not to soldiers deploying overseas, then yes, you would think this is probably a little bit more difficult for the players than a normal season.
If we were doing an armed forces show and only talked about the NBA bubble, it would sound stupid, but we're not.
Yeah.
Just, we're talking about what we're talking about.
Complete non sequitur there. All right.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, it's great.
So ultimately, my summary here is that I want Booker more than I want Durant, because I just think he's a better play. Devin Booker's got the 30% usage rate. Devin Booker's the one with the bigger assist rate. They're not all that different trying to get rebounds. And, I think Aaron Gordon's not really like a fun test for Kevin Durant. That's not easy. Like that's a very difficult defensive assignment on the opposite side. So I prefer getting to Booker over Durant. If you want to look at it differently, I get it. It's Kevin Durant. You know what this looks like when he goes out there, takes over the game and drops 40 because he's one of the best players ever. But that usage just hasn't been here. So for right now, for me, I'm leaning Booker over Durant.
I get what you're saying. I just think there could be kind of a windfall of opportunities for Durant, even Durant without Chris Paul. But
sure,
Devin Booker without Chris Paul, yeah, what a huge difference that's going to make. Like, you're right. He benefits more than Durant without Chris Paul as well.
You would think, right?
Yeah, I think both of them benefit, just because the touches, like, you're not going to have Josh Okogie or DeAndre Ayton handling the ball. You're not going to Cameron Payne, sure, but not to a significant extent. Not like Chris Paul, bringing it up the floor on every possession. So, yeah. I think they're both viable here, though, because I do see this being one of those situations where maybe this is just the most insane two-man show that you have, especially on a two-game slate. Like, very possible that it is just Kevin Durant and Devin Booker doing essentially everything.
I just don't know. Does that work? We're going to find out.
Oh, I'm not saying it works, but just from a volume perspective.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to change up the game. We're going to get to that in a second. Let's touch on Ayton first, just because he's like the other guy that I assume isn't going anywhere. 6,500 for Ayton. He's only been 0.91 fantasy points per minute over the last 30 days. At the very least, like, he has to be more involved. I think we can all agree that no matter how we look at the rest of Phoenix, DeAndre Ayton is the third best player on the Suns at this point when Chris Paul is out. I love getting to Ayton in this mid tier. This is why I'm going to have trouble getting all the way to Jokic, and I'm going to be avoiding Embiid a little bit. Embiid, obviously, a little bit different, but DeAndre Ayton is the guy that's tripping me up. I'm getting to a ton here. I think it takes a decent DeAndre Ayton day today in order to keep Phoenix alive. So by not getting to Durant, I'm sort of taking a bet on Ayton. I don't love it, but I think his 44% ownership is more than warranted. That's a low price.
More than warranted on Ayton, you said? Yeah. Right. 47% Cameron Payne right now, $4,800.
That's crazy.
I just want to be clear about something, because Cameron Payne is somebody that in game one was not in the rotation. And no, I don't count 5 blowout minutes. He was not in the rotation. Against the Clippers, he returned and played what? 3 minutes? 3 minutes? Yeah, 3 minutes.
3 minutes, 5 minutes, and then he played 17 in game 2.
17 in game 2. So there is that. There is the fact that Cameron Payne played 17 minutes. He was also a team worst -16 for whatever that's worth. Nobody was worse than -10 in that game. The bench, once again, god awful. Okay. Yep. I think he needs to get ownership today, but he has been preemptively priced up with Chris Paul's absence, and that can't go overlooked.
No, I mean, to me, at 4,800 and 47% ownership, he's the worst play on the slate. I don't know how you can be confident in his minutes. I gave him 22. If you want to tell me that it's more than that, by all means, but like, he does not have to close this basketball game. I would imagine they don't want him to. For the final 6 minutes of this game, I assume you're going to Devin Booker at the point and going to more wings than having Campaign out there, unless he's smashing. But I assume he gets a standard first quarter, second quarter, third quarter rotation. Maybe he shows up in the fourth quarter, but I have no idea. Maybe he starts, but I have no idea. 47% ownership to me is ludicrous. I have no interest in Campaign at 47%. I have 6% of him right now. I love it.
Going to be a do or die type situation there. But the thing too is, like, Devin Booker is going to play every minute. This isn't the same thing as Campaign getting minutes where he's kind of the guy, like the floor general. Devin Booker is going to be on the floor for almost the entire game.
Right. Like, could he step in and play the 30 minutes for Chris Paul? Yeah, but Booker's out there for basically every single one. But
that's what I mean.
Of them.
Probably 26 of them.
Yeah. But like, to me, that is too high of a number. If you want to tell me that I'm too low on the minutes and I should be a little bit higher, go to 24 or something, I can believe it. But we should have no confidence here. Quote from, and this is where we're going to get into it now, because we also have Josh Okogie for 41 minutes. I'm no believer in that either. The price is better and the position's better for Okogie, but I don't believe in his ownership at all. That's another guy that I want to fade at those numbers, because I want to go to the rest of the team potentially. Quote from Monty Williams yesterday, referring to Terrence Ross and TJ Warren. Those are two guys that could see significantly more time. Monty Williams confirms Terrence Ross and TJ Warren could get more run in game 3 to provide more offense alongside Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, and that they'll live with whatever warts may come of that. Seems to me that we're going to get TJ Warren and Terrence Ross into the rotation today. I have no idea where those minutes are actually coming from. That makes it very hard to project Campaign, Josh Okogie, Torrey Craig, who played 11 minutes on Monday and was absolutely awful. So we got to work Warren in. We got to work Ross in. And then Damian Lee played 25 and a half minutes, was pretty solid for them. I gave him 24. I think Damian Lee is the easiest guy to project from a minutes perspective outside of Booker, Durant, and Ayton. That said, he's terrible on a per minute basis and not all that interesting. I'm getting to a bit of TJ Warren at the flat minimum. I'm getting to a bit of Terrence Ross at the flat minimum. And I would much rather do that if Josh Okogie is going to be 40% owned and Campaign is going to be 40% owned.
Shout out to everyone for getting
no confidence. I have no idea who's starting, by the way.
No, it's very difficult to know, especially given that quote that you just read. Shout out to getting us well over 100 likes, everybody. Appreciate you guys for that. We'll wrap it up with this. And while you're at it, follow Josh on Twitter at Josh Engleman, me at Lafayette_D. Shout out to Jordan Klein for producing this one.
All right. Favorite top tier play, favorite value play, favorite leverage play. And I mean, clearly your favorite fade in the sense of getting way less in the field is Cameron Payne. So that's pretty obvious at this point.
Number one, Payne and Okogie, as of right now, knowing what we know right now, I have a hard time projecting them for enough minutes that they should be in 40% of lineups. And Payne's price is a real problem. Favorite pay up is Devin Booker for me, especially given his current ownership. But 9,500, no Paul, all the minutes in the world, trying to save the season. I'm leaning to Booker before I go to Durant. It scares me, obviously, because of Kevin Durant. Best value option, if you want to roll the dice on some of these Suns guys that are the flat men like Warren and Ross, I get it. It's the answer is probably PJ Tucker for me. Do with that what you will. It's not like it's fun.
Oh man.
What's the other question?
You say your favorite value right now is probably PJ Tucker?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't like saying that, but like
I had some concerns about his playing time last game.
Really?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, played what, 6? Did he have 3 fouls? No, he only had 2 fouls. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Played 11 minutes in the first half. Jalen McDaniels or DeAnthony Melton closed out the first half, played the final 5 minutes. Tucker played more in the third quarter, but yeah, I don't know. And just the fact that Paul Reed was the very clear, exclusive backup behind Joel Embiid, it kind of showed us that if minutes are going to be lost there, it's possible that Tucker is the one losing those minutes and not Paul Reed, and not, George Niang not playing the minutes that he got. Yeah, I think it's a little volatile for PJ Tucker minutes.
I went 28 to Tucker on minutes. That's why I don't feel too bad.
That's reasonable. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I'm just saying I don't see those like 35-minute games if the rotation is going to look like it did when Embiid came back.
Jeff, Melton was not hitting shots. Wrong game. He was 1 for 5 in game 2. Is there a mid-tier or something that I'm supposed to answer to?
Was it leverage play that I mentioned?
Oh, yeah, leverage.
Low-owned guy that,
I mean, Tobias Harris is 24% owned. I like getting over that. TJ Warren is the guy that I'd say was probably like the low-owned guy that I'm getting to.
Okay. Hey, appreciate you guys always. Went a little long here, but we're having fun on the strategy show this morning. Always a good time, brother.
It is. It is.
All right. We'll see you guys back here Sunday for the
what time are we doing that?
2:30, I believe. 2:30 Eastern time.
2:30.
Yeah, there should be a strategy show or a live before lock for sure tomorrow. We just aren't on it. That's our day off.
Yeah, Saturdays don't count.
That's our day off. We'll see you guys back here Sunday. And of course, these guys will be here taking care of you tomorrow as well. Peace.